Many of you have probably come across Project Morpheus after its announcement at the Games Developers Conference in San Francisco earlier this year, but PlayStation have now showcased the device on UK shores for the first time, and we were lucky enough to take a look. Designed exclusively for the PlayStation 4, it offers gamers a full virtual reality experience in conjunction with their console, but at the moment it's still early in development, and will be some month before it hits shop shelves. But PlayStation are keen to show off its potentials and how it could deliver a new dimension to how we play games.
So at the moment, Project Morpheus, what we're showing here is prototype hardware, so obviously many things could change, but the basic principle of the technology is we have a wide field of view, high resolution display, so it gives you the ability to see the world without any borders, so no edges, it fills your vision, so you truly believe the images you're seeing, and it has to be 3D. It has to be very high rate as well, very high frame rate, and the tracking has to be very precise. So every slight movement of your head, backwards, forwards, side to side, slight rotations, every single minute movement is translated so that the image instantly updates to reflect that. We have 3D audio in there so that you can understand exactly where sounds are coming from. So again, your hearing system totally believes the virtual world. We also have this, what we refer to as a social screen on there, which is the idea about your TV screen in your living room is also part of the system. It's not about making a technology that isolates people and puts them inside a game world on their own, but people in the living room can also see what they're seeing and share with the experience, talk to them about it, follow the story, and then it makes it much more easy to maybe take turns or maybe to let the other person interact with them. So actually what we're making here is not an isolating technology at all, but something that's far more social and far more interactive and inclusive in the living room.
When you first see the device, the first thing you notice is how polished it actually is, even at this prototype stage. It shares many similarities with its competitor, the Oculus Rift, but in terms of design, Sony's option definitely takes the edge. At the moment, the games are pretty limited and are really just for demo purposes, but nevertheless, what was on show was hugely impressive.
So today we've been showing 3 key demos. So we've got Eve Valkyrie from CCP, which is basically a cockpit-based space game. Now these games work really, really well because you've got the sense of you're sat down in a chair, and actually when you look around you, you're inside a cockpit. So it makes sense. You feel like you're sat in that ship. You're flying around, shooting other targets. You can look around and identify the targets very easily and very intuitively. It's something you don't have to be taught. It just naturally works. You can target ships by looking at them as you would in a modern fighter aircraft, but suddenly that becomes a whole new way of interacting with games. We've also got London Studio, the demo The Deep, which is all about taking you to places which maybe are inaccessible to most people, actually putting you in a shark cage, lowering you down on an amazing coral reef, seeing all the interaction of fish around you and that, believing you're in that underwater world. Then something nasty happens. And you see, debris raining down, and eventually you see some rather large marine-based creatures that come along and pay you a visit. And again, you really understand the scale. We have a shark in there that's like 25-foot great white shark, and it's amazing that people truly believe that's a real size shark, and they're totally bought into that. But it's something that most people could never experience. We also have another demo, which is an R&D demo, which we call Castle. Now this is really a playground of interaction, so you get the ability to use 2 move controllers, and you can hold on to a mannequin in front of you and dance with it, or move its arms about, punch it with your fists. You can pick up swords, you can chop at it and poke at it, and then you can fire crossbows. And again, what you tend to find is a lot of the real world interactions don't have to be taught. It's like many people are quite good with a crossbow. You just look and pull the trigger and it hits the target, and it's very satisfying without having to learn it. And then also we get this huge dragon flies in and lands in front of you, and people are just in awe of the scale. It's like the first time you can truly believe, something of an amazing size in front of you. And then the dragon comes and attacks you and finally swallows you. And the number of people that are like, oh no, I'm being eaten by a dragon. It's an amazing sensation, something again, you could never experience in the real world.
From our first impressions, Project Morpheus has huge potential, is incredibly immersive, and with the huge install base Sony has, should give it the edge over the Oculus Rift. It's obvious there is still a lot of work to do before this is ready for the consumer market, as visuals inside the headset still have some jaggedy edges and frame rate issues, but these are things that can easily be solved by the time it hits the stores. But just like any new gaming hardware, it needs some killer titles, Only then will it get gamers to properly stand up and pay attention. Until that time, Sony are keeping pretty quiet on when to expect the headset in your living rooms.
I think there's so much to learn. Now we're learning at a good pace, but we have to be confident that what we make is the right thing. And when it's put out there to everybody, they're all guaranteed a very, very good experience, and the technology's ready for them, and all the content's ready for them. So I think, when it's ready is the short answer. It's not the answer you probably wanted.